What do we got here? Scrolling. All right. There is a question from Jordan Davey about the potential quarterback salary cap. Could this be closer to cap percentage type deals or even fully guaranteed contracts? Look, this isn't going to be anything good for the players. This is going to be, as I said earlier, the owners rigging the system even more in their favor. Because I've been saying for years, the best way to pay a player on a long-term contract is a percentage of the cap. Then the player is protected against the deal becoming obsolete, because as the cap goes up, the money goes up. And the league has consistently pushed against that. That tells you this talk of a quarterback salary cap is not about going to the table and having a formula with specific percentages that get given to quarterbacks. This is about the owners among themselves doing this on their own. PFT PM Posse, what do you know about the Battle of Blair Mountain and the coal wars in West Virginia during the early 1900s? Did you hear firsthand accounts of it growing up? What's the general feeling in West Virginia in modern times? And yes, it's the NFL slow period. I grew up in West Virginia, geographically, is probably one of the strangest states in the country, because you look at the border, you look at all the different states that we touch, and I'm not going to try to list them all because I'm probably going to forget one, but Ohio, here I go doing it. Ohio, Kentucky, probably a little bit on Tennessee, Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania. And where I grew up in Wheeling, Northern Panhandle. Only reason the Northern Panhandle of West Virginia exists is because Mason and Dixon, while they were making that line that was supposed to go to the Ohio River, they hit hostile Native Americans and they said, the hell with that, we're going north. And that carved out the Panhandle. Otherwise, I would have grown up in Pennsylvania. As you get south of really where we are here, that's when it becomes more of the coal fields and the hat fields and the McCoys. That's really farther south. So I don't know anything about it. To answer your question, I don't know anything about it. And then the Eastern Panhandle is a different world altogether. It's like a suburb of DC. It makes for strange loyalties and allegiances, because northern part of the state, even though we hate Pitt, eat shit Pitt, as the saying goes, we love, or we're supposed to love. I didn't get the memo, at least not as to the Steelers. I loved the Penguins and the Pirates growing up, but the Pittsburgh professional teams, yes. College teams, no. Then you get in the Eastern Panhandle, it's Washington. You go down to the southern part of the state, it's Cincinnati. I suspect there's some Titans fans when you get farther down south. So it's just kind of a strange amalgamation of different types of people and different communities and different ways of living, and it's all kind of thrown together in one state. And back to the question, I don't know. All right. Manuel Villa has a very important question here, and he says it's a genuine question, which is good to know. Otherwise, I wouldn't have answered it. How much longer do you plan on doing what you are doing? PFT has become such a part of my morning/daily life. It would feel like a huge hole would be missing from it. I don't know what that says about me. Yeah, well, thank you. That's what we're looking for. We're nothing if we don't have people who want to read what we write, listen to what we say. So we love the audience. The fact that you see fit to listen to and read anything I have to say sets you apart. It may be a diagnosable personality disorder, but it still sets you apart. So we appreciate everyone out there, because it allows me to do what I'm doing, not have a real job, and, enjoy life from that perspective, because it's 15 years now, as of July 1. That's the 15-year anniversary of when we joined NBC, and it's been great. And my wife has asked me this from time to time, how much longer are you going to do what you're doing? It's like, well, what do I really do? What would I do? That's what I always come back to. If I wasn't doing this, what would I do? Right now, what would I be doing? At 1:40 p.m. on Thursday, June 20th, what would I be doing? Maybe reading a book, maybe playing pinball machine, maybe down in the barn smoking a cigar. I mean, those are all things I'll do anyway. You can't fill your day with your leisure activities. You got to do something productive in order to have true sense of purpose. So, long story bearable, I'm going to die with my boots on. I'm not stopping. Now, NBC may close the door on me like Michael Scott with Robert Dunder, but I own PFT. I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. If I have to go back to PFT being an independent operation and we sell ads or look for some other partner, again, I don't want that to happen. We got 3 years on our NBC deal. I got no reason to think it won't continue. Now, if NBC at some point would lose the NFL, that raises a complication that would have to be addressed. But I plan on doing what I do the same way I've done it for 23 years now, as of November 1. So this ties back to what I said at the top of the show. Heart is fine. Rest of me may not be, but I plan to keep on going as long as I am physically capable of doing it, because what else would I do? And I'll be candid with you. I'm probably being too candid, but nobody's listening to this. I really love writing, and I've been doing it for 4 years now. Between Playmakers, which was nonfiction and published by Public Affairs and imprint of Hachette, I've written Father of Mine, the upcoming sequel, Son of Mine. I mentioned that on X last night. That's September 3rd. September 3rd is the release date for that. On Our Way Home, Christmas novel that I wrote in December of 2021. And it has a lot of meaning to me personally. I enjoyed the process, and I'll be talking about it more as Christmas approaches. I've got others that are done. My agent is currently shopping one to potentially interested publishers about the NFL and gambling and the mob, and it's been written. I don't have to worry about the cease and desist letter because the NFL acronym is never used. There's no team names ever used. North Dallas 40 was my guide in that respect. It's just cities and states. It's not team names. It's not anyone real. But the goal is to basically get the NFL's attention about what could happen with gambling if they're not careful. And it's a cautionary tale, and it's mob related, and it's NFL, not NFL related. I got to work on that. Not NFL related. So that is coming. I have another one that's kind of floating out there. We're waiting for the right time to make a move on it. It reimagines a prison escape from the West Virginia Penitentiary in November of 1979. I've called it the old movie Stand By Me on meth or crack or both. I love that one. I love that one. My former agent said it's too dark. I don't think it's too dark. I think it's really good. That one's out there. I've got 2 others that are basically done. I've got another one I'm working on. I've got another one that I kind of put on the back burner that could come back at some point. I always have new ideas. So my point is, I kind of like to do that all the time. But if I was doing it all the time, how much more could I create? I've written 8 of them in 4 years on a part-time basis. I've still checked every box and done everything that I have to do professionally. But when I get a couple hours here or a couple hours there, instead of playing video games or watching TV or watching a movie or reading a book, I pop open the laptop and I start going. And the fact that I've been doing this for 23 years and that I can write quickly and think quickly and articulate my thoughts, and I can write 1,500 words an hour. And if you do the math, it doesn't take that long to write a book. If you can do 1,500 words an hour, the challenge is finding enough hours. And I'm concerned that, because there's only certain circumstances where the writing process works for me. When it works great. But I need to be in the barn or sitting outside on the patio. Ideally, lighting a cigar just kind of sparks the process for me. So I don't smoke one every single day. So it's maybe 3 or 4 times a week that I'm even in the mode or the mood or the position to try to even do it. But so if I had all the time to do it, it's not like I would spend 10 hours a day doing it. So I've achieved, it may not be healthy, but for me, it's a balance of I can do everything I do for PFT and NBC, and I'll steal 2 hours or 3 hours here or there to work on fiction projects. And I plan on continuing that as long as I can, as long as my fingers work, as long as my brain functions, as long as my eyes can actually, see and process and everything that goes along with it. You're stuck with me indefinitely. Although indefinitely definitely can have a limitation. Hell, I'm going to go to the grocery store at some point today. Who knows? The proverbial bus might hit me. So we all have to be ready for that at any given time. On that happy note, here's another question about, this is curb your analytics. I like that. I see the owners have been discussing a possible off-the-books quarterback salary cap. Do you think the NFL is going to investigate this? Is it possible that a quarterback could sue the NFL if they feel they got ripped off because of this, perhaps Tua if he doesn't get top market. Here's what would happen. Here's what would happen. The league wouldn't investigate it because the league's doing it. The union would have to investigate it. And then the question becomes, would there be a grievance at some point? There's no lawsuit to be filed. You file a grievance alleging collusion. And there's something in the CBA that under certain circumstances, the union can actually try to pull the plug on the labor deal if it wants to, based upon existence of collusion. So it's not easy to prove. It's easy to suspect. It's not easy to prove. So that would be the device if that ultimately happens. Jack's from the land. The NFC seems to have a different front runner every season recently. Who's going to be the next hot team? It feels like it's the Lions this year. Last year, the Lions were kind of in that mode with the 49ers. It feels like it's the Lions and then maybe the 49ers this year. That's just visceral from my perspective, not based on betting odds or anything like that. I feel like the Lions are like, this is it for them, that this is the peak and the next logical step is for them to get to the Super Bowl, but who knows? The Eagles, I think, will be a lot better than last year. The 49ers, as I mentioned, they'll continue to be the 49ers. The Rams may have some fight in them this year. The Buccaneers, they still have a chip on their shoulder because even though they won the division last year, nobody seems to care, and they managed to keep most of the team together. The Packers could be a lot better. So I don't think there's one clear team. That's the great thing about the NFL right now. There really aren't great, clear, obvious choices. And even the Chiefs, who've won 3 Super Bowls, it's not like they blow everybody out. I've said this multiple times recently. They make every game, every playoff game, especially interesting. Every Super Bowl, they're done. And they do the Undertaker thing and come back and win. Jeremy Dodd, when you actually go on vacation, will you actually relax and forget football for a week? No. Next question. It's what I do. It's just what I am. It becomes who you are. And I've been following the NFL for 50 years. I was doing it for free for a long time. I worked on the website for free for many years. I can't imagine shutting it down for a full week. I can't imagine shutting it down for a day. That's the one New Year's resolution I ever honored. January 1, 2004. If this thing's ever going to become what it has a chance to be, I got to work on it every single day. And I have worked on it every single day since then. 20 years and almost 6 months later, here we are. Okay. At King36, what do you think the maximum amount of regular season games for an NFL season will be in our lifetime? Is 20 possible? 20 is inevitable. It's just a question of when. Might not be in my lifetime, might be in yours, depending upon how old you are. But I think what was 14-6 regular season preseason became 16-4, became 17-3, will become 18-2, will become 19-1, will become 20-0. I guarantee you that's going to happen at some point. I don't want to put a timeline on it, but at some point that's going to happen. By not putting a timeline on it, I'm never be wrong. By the time anyone can say, hey, that guy was wrong, the more appropriate question will be, who? Who was that? All right. Let's see what else we have here. Got to scroll through these. Time to wrap it up. I'm going longer than I wanted to today. There's some good ones here. John Ardell, why do some judges keep the courtroom closed only to make everything that took place public later? What purpose does it serve? And this may have something to do with the Sunday ticket trial. We've seen other high-profile trials recently. There's media access. Only in rare circumstances is a court proceeding shut off from public view, usually when it involves juvenile, sensitive material like that. That's when the courtroom is closed, and I don't think there are any public announcements or releases of what happens. The Sunday ticket trial is open to the public. The other high-profile trials we've seen in the political realm in recent weeks, open to the public. Now, you got to get your seat, and a lot of the reporters were actually in an overflow room watching it on closed-circuit TV, but still, it's open. The courtroom is open. A lot of these old courtrooms that you'll see in TVs and movies with like a second deck with all the seats there, that's what people used to do. Before there was radio and TV, like some of the old courthouses here in West Virginia have these grandiose with the chairs going all the way back like the theater. It was all people had to do. We're going to go watch the trials today. You have nothing you can watch on TV. You have nothing you can listen to on the radio. It's real life drama playing out. You're going to go watch the trials. So all courtroom proceedings are supposed to be open under certain specific and relatively rare instances, the courtroom is closed. On that note, I should probably close this courtroom until tomorrow. I'll do it again Friday. We'll go 5 for 5 for week 1 of the PFT Live hiatus. We will be posting content around the clock at profootballtalk.com. Thanks as always for your questions. If I didn't get to your question today, ask it again tomorrow and we'll try to get to it. If I don't get it tomorrow, ask it again next week. And eventually, hopefully, I'll get to it. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.